All right, let's dive into the Hugging Face Datasets library with a bit of a rapid-fire boot camp. Think of this as a pop quiz, a way to test your skills and maybe even learn a few powerful tricks along the way. So, you think you've got a pretty good handle on it, right? Well, let's put that to the test. Get ready to see if you're a true datasets master. We're going to tackle this in 3 quick parts. First, we'll nail the everyday stuff in mastering the basics. Then we'll pop the hood and see how it all works. And finally, we'll zoom out to understand the bigger picture. Okay, let's kick things off with part 1, mastering the basics. These are the absolute core operations you'll find yourself using day in and day out. First question for you. You're starting a new project, you reach for the trusty load dataset function. Where can it actually pull data from? Give it a thought. And the answer is, well, it's kind of a trick question because it's all of them. And that's the first piece of magic right there. You can pull directly from the hub, you can point to your own local files, or you can even just feed it a URL. That flexibility is a huge part of what makes this library so powerful. Okay, data's loaded. Now you need a small, random sample, maybe just to take a quick look. How do you grab 50 truly random elements? Now, pay close attention here, because the order you do things in is everything. So here's the crucial difference. You have to shuffle before you select. It makes sense when you think about it, right? If you select the first 50 items and then shuffle, you're just reordering the same 50 items you started with. To get a truly random sample from the whole data set, you gotta shuffle the entire deck of cards first, then deal yourself 50. Let's move on to a classic everyday task, filtering. Imagine you've got this data set of pets, and you only want to see the ones whose names start with the letter L. What's the cleanest, most Pythonic way to do that? And this is where the library just feels so elegant. You can use a simple lambda, a tiny one-line anonymous function, right inside the .filter method. It keeps your code super concise and easy to read. And hey, if your logic gets more complicated, no problem. You can just pass in a regular, fully defined function instead. It's incredibly powerful. So we've covered the what, which is great. Now let's move on to part 2, how it all works. We're going to go under the hood a little bit and understand the magic that makes this library so fast and efficient. This secret sauce behind a lot of this is a technique called memory mapping. Have you ever tried to open a massive file and just watched your computer grind to a halt? Yeah, this is the solution. It lets the library treat a huge file on your hard drive as if it's already in your computer's RAM, without actually loading the whole thing. It's like having a perfect map to all the data instead of trying to carry it all in your backpack at once. So what does this actually mean for you? Well, it means you can work with datasets that are way, way bigger than your computer's RAM. It means access is pretty much instantaneous, no more waiting for huge files to load. And your processing becomes incredibly efficient. It is a total game changer. Okay, let's look at another super powerful feature, streaming. But it comes with a common little trap. Why would this code, which looks totally normal, suddenly fail the moment you add streaming equals true? The reason is that a streaming dataset isn't a list that you can just jump into anywhere you want. Think of it like a live TV show or a video stream. You can't just skip ahead to a scene that hasn't aired yet. You have to move through it, one item at a time, using something like next, iter dataset. You can't just ask for index 0. All right, we've covered the basics. We've gone under the hood. Now for our final section, the bigger picture. Let's zoom out and see how this library fits into the whole machine learning ecosystem. Code is only part of the story. Good documentation is absolutely critical, especially when we're collaborating. So what's the real benefit of taking the time to create a dataset card on the Hugging Face hub? Dataset cards are just vital. They make your work reproducible so other people can actually understand and build on what you've done. They provide crucial context about a dataset's limitations or its intended use. And of course, they make your work discoverable. It's all about making data fair, and that stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Now for a seriously cool application, semantic search. This goes way beyond just matching keywords. This is about searching for something based on the meaning and the intent behind your question, and that's where things get really, really powerful. A really common use case here is something called asymmetric semantic search. Think about it like a search engine. You type in a short, specific question, that's the query. The system has to find the answer buried somewhere in a long, detailed document. To make this work, we convert all the text into numerical representations called embeddings, and Datasets is the perfect tool for getting this data ready so you can compare the embedding of your short question against the embeddings of all those long documents to find the best match. All right, time for the final question of our bootcamp. We've been focusing a lot on text, but is the Datasets library kind of a one-trick pony, or can it handle other types of data, like, say, audio or images?
The answer is a huge, resounding yes.
And honestly, this is a really crucial point. The library is modality agnostic, which is just a fancy way of saying it doesn't care if your data is text or audio or images. It's a foundational tool for everything from speech processing to computer vision, and that's why it sits right at the heart of the entire modern machine learning ecosystem. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of the Datasets library. You've seen the basics, you've peeked under the hood, and you've hopefully grasped the bigger picture. The only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?